What's up, guys? Iceman here. Welcome to Meditations. Appreciate you all for coming by. Like this video if you will, subscribe to the page, and swat that bell so you're notified next time I post a video, and blessings to my patrons, links in the description below. So is hustle culture cooked? Let me know in the comments below. So I think during the whole stimulation thing, you remember that thing where they shut down the whole frickin' world and they printed a bunch of money and kind of handed it out to everyone? I think that sort of stimulated this buy phase. And of course, then there started to become a downturn and people started looking for other ways of making money because their general means just wasn't cutting it. We've seen gas prices go up quite a bit. We've seen, probably in turn, food prices going up quite a bit. And those numbers are probably fake. Just do the math on your own. Go to the grocery store. Look at the eggs. This place down the road, probably 2019 or so, they had a dozen eggs for 60 cents. Now they're about $3.50. Cacao, hasn't that gone up like 400% plus or something like that? Meats, red beef, everything else. It's just unfucking believable. And the numbers that they generally purport through mainstream media, they're skewed. They don't include a lot of things, and they're pretty biased as far as I know. A little bit I've looked into it, but nonetheless, it's good to be in that mindset anyway, just in case, right? It's good to expect the worst and hope for the best. And that's what I've been doing for like 10 plus years at least. When I was a little duck-billed platypus, I observed, right? Just kind of sat back and observed. I observed the world around me. I observed my parents. They're both busting their asses. Part of the time, my mom did stay home and watch the kids. But as we got a little older, she would go back to work. Either work for a school or she'd do house cleaning and things like that. So they were always kind of busy. You know what I mean? My dad busted his ass, business owner, this and that, did that for a long time. So I just sort of observed what it's like to have to deal with the struggle, you know? And it made me want to distance myself from that as much as possible, which is kind of what I did with my days going forward. It's kind of where I'm at now. I did blow money on various colleges, right? I thought, I don't really know what to do. I just want to have a good time. So I wasted a lot of money doing that, while ultimately knowing that I never really wanted to work for anyone else anyway. When I look at the numbers, I'd be like, wait a second, so with the college degree, I'm going to have to go work for somebody, and then I'm going to have to work like 40 hours a week, you know? I was like, fuck that. And from then on out, I just started kind of trying to pave my own way in other methods. I just knew I didn't want to have to work 40 hours a week, and I didn't want to have to go kiss somebody else's ass, you know? I'm glad there's a lot of people who do that, and we need them to do that to keep the cogs going. Fortunately, videos like this probably won't get that far anyway, and doesn't really matter how many ears it gets to. Most of them aren't going to act on it anyway, you know what I mean? So it's okay to talk about this stuff to some extent, because if everyone tried to be a hustler or whatever, then we'd all be fucked. The hustlers, they sort of work in a functional civilization, and they sort of weave their way around inside of it. You know what I mean? Just finding the looseness, finding the exploits, finding the voids, finding the nooks and crevices, and they work there. They work in all that. But one hustle that I've taken notice to is, you know, when you go to thrift stores, garage sales, things like that, you got people walking around, scanning things with their phones, trying to sell things and everything else, put it on all the online outlets, Facebook Marketplace as well, just the local stuff. There was an influx of people doing that. And I can't help but wonder if lately that has been dying out. And I think I know why. And there's other things. People pick up side gigs, right? They deliver stuff. They do the Uber Eats thing. But of course, as the economy takes a downturn, less people are going to be ordering things. Less people are going to be doing the Uber Eats or whatever the hell else there is. So, of course, there's going to be a downturn in all of that. But I think what's going on is the rubber is starting to meet the road, if you will. All right, I know that's not a proper use of that saying, but let me explain. So things are getting more and more difficult for everyone. You know, they're starting to face the reality of what all this shit has stirred up. And the gas being high with everything else going up with it, their wages aren't moving much, production is down. It's just they're really starting to feel the brunt of it. And I think people are struggling to the point where it's hard to get the groceries. You know, it's hard to pay all your freaking bills. So the whole hustle culture, when they have to have a little bit of money up front, is the problem. And a lot of those hustle cultures, you know what I mean? Like the drop shipping thing and the walk around thrift stores thing and everything else. People would buy things with the expectation that they're going to sell, and they're probably not prepared for all the shit you have to deal with that, you know, with the customer. What if it's broken? What if they return it? What if they demand their money back? What if it doesn't sell? What if it just sits there? You know, what if you keep buying stuff and your rooms just start getting filled with a bunch of shit, and all of a sudden it's the end of the month and you own your bills? You know what I mean? I think people are starting to feel what's been coming, and the problem is they're not prepared for the downturn. Most people aren't. You know, most people don't have more than $1,000 in their saving account. Most people aren't prepared for a surprise $500 bill. You know what I mean? So it's really, really bad. They're just not ready for a downturn. And so, of course, what that's going to do is people are going to begin withdrawing. You know, you're not going to see them around at thrift stores or whatever. They're not going to be doing the drop shipping thing. They're not going to be spending money on these high side hustles, because in a lot of things you have to spend money to make money. And it's just coming to the point, I think, where it's not working out. You know, they weren't ready for the tide to recede. And I know I said this in my last video, something along the lines of what Warren Buffett said, that when the tide recedes, you begin to see who's wearing their swimsuits and who's not. Those who are not wearing the bathing trunks are the ones who weren't prepared for the storm. So you got to be wise. You got to be conniving, man. All right. You got to be diligent. You got to be perceptive and all that shit. You have to be ready. You have to store up. And isn't that even a biblical thing? Didn't Joseph or whatever, didn't he store up for like 7 years worth of goodies because of the coming famine? You know what I mean? And I think what people don't really realize is they're like, well, Iceman, why would I do that? I'm going to miss out on the now. I just want to have a good time now. But the problem is they're often busting their ass from somebody else. They often work for somebody else, kissing somebody else's ass. And are they really having that good of a time? You know, I see people buying the new cars, buying the latest electronics and all that shit. And I just can't help but wonder, you know, I just don't think that it's fulfilling them. I've had my share on buying shit that I don't need. Right now I'm surrounded by this home theater, and I spent a lot of money on this. I'm looking at a nice power amp, a nice preamp processor, 7.2 channel, a nice big ass TV, a nice center channel, 2 towers, and I have the 2 surrounds. You know what I mean? I have a nice collection of movies and everything else. Just one of those things that I blew a lot of money on, but did that really bring me fulfillment? I don't think so. I just always want more is kind of what's embedded in our nature. And the new cars, I mean, they make them like complete garbage now. These things are plastic heaps of trash driving around. Or they got electronic engines, electronic transmissions, electronic everything. I wouldn't trade any of them for my 2005, 2006 4Runner and Sequoia. Nice Toyota, 240,000 plus miles on each, and they both drive like new. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the big deals is living beneath your means, all right? Not just at your means, but beneath it. Prepare for the freaking storm because they are coming. All right, got a whole freaking I got a storage of food in the other room. All sorts of shit, canned goods, flour, sugar, tuna, meats, dried beans, everything else, big sacks of rice, some little straws you suckle through ponds with to filtrate the water. Boom steaks and all the little lead thingies that they take. Got a lot of those lying around. Gold, silver. But I need to get better at it. I need to start looking into S&P 500 and things like that. Things that are very conservative investments. I could try the woke coins. To some extent I will, but it's a gamble. Those are big gambles, and I don't really like gambling. I've learned my lesson the hard way just a couple times. I didn't blow that much money. I made a bet one time for $600 and I lost it. It was fucking stupid. One of the stupidest things I've ever done. Actually, it's probably far from one of the stupidest things I've ever done, but it was pretty stupid. And I just kind of, it's not the way that I like to roll, all right? Some folks are more risk takers. Some folks like to evaluate that stuff and delve in, but I like being cautious, curious. I like the slow but steady race upward, you know what I mean? But is freaking hustle culture cooked? I would speculate that it is. And I'm hoping that what we're going to see in the coming months and years is an upturn in the economy, an upturn in manufacturing. The gas price is going down, the food price is going down, and hopefully that'll bring people back to their regular jobs where there'll be less people that need a side hustle. You know what I mean? They'll just, it'll be a consumerism realm for a while again. And that would be great. But I speculate it's heading there, but it's going to be a rude awakening for many as it currently is right now. And but let me know what your thoughts are on that in the comments below. If you guys will like this video, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace be with you.